We all hear the rules of crypto trading, right? Buy low, sell high. Simple. But if it's so simple, why do so many of us end up losing money? Well, the answer isn't hiding in the charts, it's in our own heads. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of trading and unlocking that professional mindset. So, how are we going to build that resilient mindset? We're going to walk through 4 crucial lessons. First, we're going to totally change how you think about losing. Then, we'll tackle that emotional roller coaster. After that, we'll see why survival is the real goal. And finally, we'll learn how to play the long game for keeps. All right, first things first. We have to rebuild our entire foundation. And that means facing the one thing every single trader deals with, but very few actually accept: the cold, hard reality of taking a loss. Look, this isn't some motivational quote. It's a fundamental law of the market. You are going to take losses. The quicker you can really, truly internalize that simple fact without getting emotional about it, the faster you can start thinking like a pro. I'm saying it again because it's that important. You have to get this on a deep gut level. One bad trade doesn't make you a bad trader. A bad week doesn't just erase months of disciplined work. It's all part of the process. And this is where the real split happens, The difference between an amateur and a professional isn't that one wins more often. Nope. It's all about how they react to losing. Amateurs let their losses define them. Professionals just see them as data, as lessons, and they just move on to the next trade. So, what is your actual job as a trader? It's not about being right all the time. It's much simpler. It's just these 3 things done over and over. Execute your plan, protect your capital, and above all else, make damn sure you can stay in the game long enough to trade another day. Okay, so once you've made peace with the fact that losses are just part of the deal, the next step is to understand what's really moving the market. And here's a hint. It has nothing to do with those lines on your screen. You see all those candles and patterns? They're just a picture. They're a visual representation of a huge crowd of people all feeling things at the same time. The real battle isn't against the chart. It's always, always against yourself. And what are those feelings? Well, it pretty much boils down to these 4 big drivers. You've got fear, the fear of losing money; greed, wanting more and more profit; good old FOMO, that panic you feel when you see a coin pumping without you; and the most dangerous one, revenge trading, that desperate need to get back at the market right after a loss. The very second you let those emotions grab the steering wheel and you start chasing price, it's over. You've just given up all your control. At that point, you're not trading the market anymore. The market is trading you. It's playing with your emotional reactions. But here's the good news. Professionals, they feel all this stuff too. They just don't let their feelings click the buttons. And if you can just learn to pause, take a breath, and follow your own rules instead of your impulses, you're already ahead of 90% of the people in this game. Seriously. This all leads us to a really powerful shift in thinking. In a market this wild, this volatile, you have to completely redefine what it actually means to win. Real success isn't about bragging rights on Twitter. You don't need to catch every single move. You absolutely do not need to trade every single day. And you have nothing to prove to anyone. You got to shed that ego. So your primary goal, your number 1 job, becomes capital preservation. Your trading capital is your lifeblood. It's the only tool you have to stay in the game. Protecting it isn't some boring defensive move. It's actually the source of all your confidence and power as a trader. And this brings us to one of the truest things ever said about trading. Real control isn't just knowing when to jump in. It's knowing when to sit on your hands and do absolutely nothing. Having the disciplined patience to wait for your perfect setup. That is a professional skill. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section. Let's tie all these psychological tools together and talk about the mindset you need for real, sustainable, long-term success. See, the market is just packed with people playing the short game. It's all about intensity, hype, trying to predict the next 100x coin. But the long game, the pros game, that's about consistency. It's about patience. It's about trusting your process, no matter what happens on any single trade. And that's the honest truth. The traders who really make it, the ones who are still here years from now, they're not the ones with the loudest voices and the flashiest calls online. They're the quiet ones, the ones who just show up every single day to methodically execute their plan, again and again and again. This is your new goal. You are never going to be a perfect trader. It's impossible. So stop chasing it. Instead, just focus on making progress. Are you following your rules a little bit better this week than you did last week? That's it. That's the only thing that really matters. So let these 3 things be your North Star. Trust the system that you've worked hard to build. Always, always respect your risk. And on those tough days when nothing seems to be working, remember why you started this journey in the first place. At the end of the day, none of this is complicated. The knowledge is pretty simple, right? But having the discipline to actually apply it day in and day out, especially when fear and greed are screaming in your ear, well, that's the whole game.